Good afternoon. This is the Board of County Commissioners for February 14th, 2017. My name is Commissioner Bud Blake, and I'm the chair this year for the Board of County Commissioners. I'd like to start off by doing introductories. To my left, we have Commissioner Edwards, and to my right, we have Commissioner Hutchings. To his right, we have Labanita Bowman. She's the Board of the Clerk. And to her right, we have the County Manager, Ramiro Chavez. And to his right, we have Elizabeth Petras, who's the Deputy Prosecuting Attorney. With that in mind, I'd like to ask the Vice Chair, Commissioner Hutchings, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. And with that in mind, I'll take a motion to approve today's agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve today's agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. It's been moved and second to approve the agenda for February 14th, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And with that in mind, approval or a motion to approve the minutes for 7 February.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the board meeting minutes from February 7, 2017.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and second to approve the board minutes from February 7, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. So the next item we have on the agenda is for the opportunity for the public to address the board. And with that in mind, I'll ask the board of the clerk to Labanita to explain the rules, the 3-minute rules.
Okay, we have a 3-minute timer. It starts off with a green light that lasts for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You will then see a yellow light for 30 seconds, and when you see the red light, it means your time is up.
Right. Okay, so I have 2 people who wish to respond and 1 person who's just listening. But at the end, if someone still in the public wants to come to the podium, I'll call you forward, okay? So I'm going to start with Deborah McLean. Is that you? Hi, how you doing, Deborah? Come on up.
Hi, I'm Deborah McLean.
Sure.
Thank you for hearing me today. My husband has been here before, so you're familiar with our case, I believe. He's met with several of you. And the impetus for me coming in today is he couldn't make it, but we feel like we're being put off another month or 2. We've communicated recently. No problems with any of the county employees. They've been fabulous in responding. However, the timeline keeps getting pushed forward, and we've been waiting to, get approval to build our home. We have 8.2 acres just south of Tumwater in the county. We've done all the things that the county has asked us to do. We went through the process for the gopher situation, and we have met with U.S. Fish and Wildlife. We've met with y'all. Y'all tell us to meet with each other. So we've done all of that, and now we are asking for a decision. Mm-hmm. And we feel it's fair to have a decision now. Reason for that is we have written approval from U.S. Fish and Wildlife that says they will agree to our proposal to set aside 1 acre on the northwest corner of our 8.2 acres for mitigation for the gopher. And we are going to be using half an acre out of 8 acres to give you a perspective to build our home. It's private land. We're not building paradise in a parking lot. It's going to stay the way it is. It's a working farm. We have, like I said, the approval, and all we are waiting for is the approval of the commissioners to say, yes, go. Everything else is in place. It doesn't, it also on, let me pause for a moment to get my paper. On the Thurston County land use fee schedule, the current one, there's a permit already in place for the gopher and review. And we've done the review. And all we need is for the commissioners to say, yes, we would come out for 10 minutes once a year or every other year, whatever you agree to make sure that our land is indeed being used, or not being used for anything but gopher habitat. That is absolutely the only thing left so that we can be able to build our home. And we're asking, please, please approve our land for this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You have a follow-up?
Yes, Mr. Blaine, thank you for coming and joining us today. Yes, I have been working with your husband on your particular matter. I believe what the issue is the conservation easement that you have agreed with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife as a result of the mitigation of you proposing building your home. Just to put into the context, the commissioners will have to assess conservation easement in terms of a policy level. Although from your perspective, in your individual situation may be simple, but we as the county and the commissioners will have to look as a policy as to how we can accommodate those conservation easements, not just for you, but for the rest of the citizens in the county that they might be in the same situation. And that is probably the decision-making process. The commissioners are taking a little time to see how a policy decision can be affected, not just you, but the rest of the citizens in your situation.
And may I respond? Am I allowed to respond to that?
Yeah.
Just 1 second. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate what you're saying. And I understand the policy, that the overall policy, but there is no interim plan because it's not doable. We can't move forward with an interim plan. So we as landowners are stuck being able to do nothing, and there is no permanent plan in place. So it leaves us with no way to move forward. So what we're asking is not to have to wait until a permanent plan is in place or until the larger scope, but in the interim, can we please move forward? We've been doing this for almost a year now. We've done all of the other things that have been asked of us, and that's what we're asking for today.
I know the commission is interested in keying and seeing a permanent solution to the pocket gopher issue coming to a resolution. And another invested. And in fact, next week, the commissioners have set aside a whole day going through a planning session just to work through the details with U.S. Fish and Wildlife and other partners as to how the ultimate plan will be. Yeah. Within the whole context, the interim permitting process will also be part of that conversation. And I'm sure at that point, well, they may be considering your situation as well as others in your position.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
you.
Deborah.
Thank you.
So next on my list is Mr. Rick Abbott. Hi, sir. Can you state somewhere where you live in the county?
Aloha and good afternoon. My name is Rick Abbott. I live at 2705 215th Avenue Southwest in the southwestern corner of Thurston County. And I was able to meet with Commissioner Hutchins a couple weeks ago about some of the concerns I had about zoning on my property, which restricts us on our ability to utilize the property for a cannabis farm that I was approached to sell my property for because the moratorium that's currently in place. And I would like to say that at this point that I do support the Planning Commission's recommendations to include our RI 5 for use for such purposes, and that the moratorium should be lifted and allow us to be able to utilize our property that way. But then after my meeting, I decided I needed to hire a surveyor to go over my property to see, just under the current zoning, what it would cost me to subdivide it and develop my property. So I began the process and had him come out on the property. And then he was coming out for a second visit, and he will be sending you all his report. That he was not able to access the property because of the county road to be able to do the site visit and complete the initial work that we wanted to do for the subdivide to come in for a pre-submission conference. And I have not been able to rent my property in the winter for several winters now, because in the wintertime when it floods, it's not accessible. And so I cannot get a renter that's willing to rent in the wintertime, and have not rented it now for a year and a half. And so I can't use it as a rental, I can't subdivide and develop it, and I can't use it for a commercial purpose, of which could be the last resort for properties like this, and for opportunities for landowners. I actually wrote the original critical area ordinance for Thurston County after the sensitive area ordinance that I wrote for Commissioner Barner, Eldridge, and Karen Frazier at the time, when we had a spill on, out by McAllister Springs. We then utilized that in the Growth Management Act, and I then worked out of the governor's office in the policy shop on that at the time, and worked with then Department of Ecology Director Christine Gregoire also on the new St. Martin's campus and the original 200-foot buffer zone on Woodland Creek, which is the first ever in the state, and was then the pilot project for salmon recovery projects, and also the initial stream team project, which we started here. So I've got a history on this stuff, and I really understand it inside and out. This particular piece of property, although it has protections on it that should be there, those are not the limitations in the end on the use of the property. It's actually the road. And so without either fixing the road or finding a way to buy out the property owners on this side, we've got a real problem here. And so I'd like to see what we could do to work it out.
Sure.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you for your comment, sir. All righty. Nope, that's good. Thank you. The next
This-
person I have on my list,
Oh, okay. Scott's not going to say something about that now.
not now, in a second. Yep. Next person I have on my list is Mr. Jim Zahn. Is he? There you go, sir. Hey, how you doing? Come on to the podium. There you go.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Zahn. I live at 3323 Yelm Highway Southeast. I have a strawberry farm there. It's in the growth management area for Olympia. I'm been before the commissioners over many, many years, and it's good to meet you new commissioners. I appreciate that. There's issues that are very difficult to overcome, as we've probably already heard some of the issues that are been presented here today that affect us as farmers, and basically a farmer in the growth management area is really difficult. We know that there's a transition time when you become no longer farms and you become a development. Well, my property is zoned for residential, higher density homes and that sort of thing, but the price and the cost of being able to develop is way, way out of my reach, as the cost of putting in sewers and that sort of stuff. They changed the type of sewer that would be allowed in my property, and to a point where it has to be a gravity system, and have to put in a lift station in order to do that. Well, that's over $1 million. So anyway, over the period of time that I thought I was going to go into development, I couldn't. So I'm still a farm, and so I have to work on the property rights aspect of being able to continue to be farming, and those issues that all prevail now around in the county, which you will be sitting on other boards, all affect me. Everything that affects residential development or growth management affects me. So it's very difficult, to be able to meet the requirements of everybody. I specifically discuss one thing here today, and I also echo the issues about the gophers. I had a chance to sell the property to the city of Olympia for a park. The park spent about $180,000 on reviewing the thing, and they wanted it better than they wanted to have the the old Trillium project, which is the LBA Woods. But the LBA Woods people prevailed, and my property failed in that sale. The problem sort of came up from the point of gopher habitat, because Andrew DeFoibus told the city that my property had gophers on it, and therefore it wouldn't be available for parks either. So those issues are still there. Just the fact that there's gopher habitat around should not prevail, in being able to develop.
Okay.
One other point that I wanted to
Get you
make.
to wrap it up real for me, okay?
Yeah, it's, I was fined for burning on my property here just a year ago by the ORCA, Olympia Region Clean Area Agency, and I know that somebody's going to be sitting on that board, and I want to make sure that they understand that ongoing farms can burn in the growth management area. That's according to the RCWs. ORCA has been trying to cut me down off of that just because of the area in the growth management on Thurston County is not supposed to burn if you are residential area, but ongoing agriculture gets to burn. So I just wanted
You bet.
to understand that.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words.
Thank
All righty. Chance to call out to the public sitting in the audience. Is there anyone who would like to come to the podium and address the board? Yeah, sure. Come on, sir. Can you state your name and generally where you're at in the county? Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Jack Grimes. I live at 6525 76th Avenue Northeast, North Thurston County. I want to thank the new commissioners for the rapid movement you're making on making some improvements to some of the county departments. And my application for short plat, Brett is working with me very closely. My main comments today would address the county approving the Board of Commissioners for the comprehensive plan. I testified at that as well as several other people. The restrictions that are being adopted or proposed in that for those of us outside the UGA are still too restrictive in my opinion, and also there's not enough flexibility for people that are actually still holding rural land that helps protect and provide the open space you need for the Growth Management Act. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you for your words, too. All righty. Just to do another call out, is there anyone in the public who'd like to come to the board? Come to the podium and address the board? Seeing nobody, I'll move on to the next item in the agenda, which is the county manager's update.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have two items for you today. The first one, I'm going to read an email that Mr. Jeff Harwood from LeMay sent to to Lucy Mills, from Public Works, as well as Commissioner Blake. And it states as follows. I'm writing to express my appreciation to Fritz Braley and his crew for their amazing response to an accident on the morning of Wednesday, February 1st, 2017, at approximately 133rd in Ball Hills Road. LeMay experienced a significant load fire in one of our front load truck collecting cardboard for recycling. The situation was further complicated by the presence of 15 gallons of cooking oil that had been inappropriately placed in one of the cardboard collection containers. Fighting the fire required that the entire load be offloaded on the Ball Hills Road. Fritz and his crew worked closely with the firefighters while working to extinguish the fire and then took the lead in cleaning up the highway. Without the support of county resources, the delay in returning to the highway to full service would have been increased significantly. The response was truly above and beyond all expectations. We would like to recognize the following Thurston County employees: Fritz Bierley, Doug Cook, Preston Goller, Lee Dashel, Brandy Hendrickson, Krista Matthews, and Peter Dixon. We would also like to recognize the prompt response by the Fire District 17, and from the East Thurston County Fire Authority in Yelm. In the absence of this support, LeMay will be very likely have lost critical pieces of equipment, and the disruption to the traveling public on these portions of Ball Hill Road would have been even more significant. We greatly indeed appreciate it. So Commissioners, today, I'd like to introduce to the great crew of Public Works. In my past life as a Public Works Director, I know firsthand what a wonderful team we have here in the county. So if I may ask, along the interim Public Works Director, Scott Lindblom, to come forward. Doug Cook. Fritz Burley, come on up. Preston Galler. Peter Dixon, Lee Dashel, Brandy Hendrickson, and Krista Matthews.
Are we gonna get a photo of them now?
Can we have the minutes show, if we could, that John Cannon was also on that team also?
John Cannon was also part of the team. Thank you.
Do it here?
Some of y'all come to the middle.
Yeah.
Get cozy, yeah.
A little bit more.
Gonna get friendlier? Are you ready to take a shower?
Oh, this will work. Okay, ready? 1, 2. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. Good job. Thank you.
We do have the best county workers here in Thurston County, and it's absolutely marvelous for them to stop and aid a commercial vehicle that's in distress, be on fire or not. We're all, I'll say, family in the sense of living here in Thurston County, and it's absolutely marvelous to render that kind of assistance. Any comments?
Well, I'm sure they were probably in violation of some state ordinance or some regulatory process that could have gotten in the way of this, and I'm glad common sense
Common
took
sense,
over.
that's right, yeah. You have something?
No, just when I read that, it made me exceptionally proud. It was so cool to help someone that needs help like right now. Quick action and quick thinking. Very good.
And so do you have anything else for county manager's update?
Yes, Commissioner. I'm going to give the floor to the Assistant County Manager, Robin Campbell, and she will circle back on the comment that you received from Mr. John Pettit last week related to the sale of the 3400 building and the proceeds related to the sale.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I've been asked to comment on the proceeds of the sale from the 3400 building and how that relates to the detention sales tax fund. Back in 1998, a portion of the detention sales tax fund was used to partially purchase the property of the 3400 building. Since that time, there are payments recorded in 2000 and 2004 reimbursing the detention sales tax fund for at least a portion of the purchase price. And we've been working with our bond counsel and advisor on what we should do with the proceeds, because the bonds that are used for the purchase and improvements of the 3400 building have not been paid off yet, and they are not yet callable, which means we can't opt to pay them immediately. What our bond advisor has advised us to do is to put that money into a separate account and reinvest it into property that would be an allowable cost with capital bonds, with non-taxable capital bonds. So we've taken that first step in the purchase of the Building 6 where our public defense is currently housed. We had been leasing that building, so we're going to use part of the proceeds to buy Building 6. And then I also wanted to clarify that no portion of the bonds are currently being paid with detention sales tax funds. All bond payments currently from detention sales tax are paying for our juvenile detention, construction and improvement costs, the current jail, and the work release facility at the jail. So all payments going out of the fund are currently for jails that the county owns.
Thank you. Any questions? Yeah, sure.
One thing, Robin, you said a portion was repaid on 3,400 out of that, towards that fund, to repay that fund. When you say a portion, I'm just not curious how much. I mean, is it amount or a percentage or?
So I see that the fund was repaid $400,000 in 2000 and 2004 from the records that I've found from those years. The total payment on the 3,400 building property was $1.4 million. And it was, for a period of time, planned to be a jail facility and was used, it's my understanding that it was used as storage for many things for the sheriff. We can look farther into whether or not these are allowable costs, but it's my understanding that they were allowable costs and they do not need to be repaid at this time.
Okay.
Comments, questions? No? Thank you very much. You got one more item?
Yeah, I just have one more item. Just to remind the public, the next week's Board of County Commissioners, which is February 21st, is canceled.
Okay, great. With that in mind, I'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the consent items. And just to let you know, to the public that's out there, the consent items A through F, we've gone over them earlier this morning and a week or so ago. So we've kind of voted on them in a sense, but we're getting ready to do the formal voting. So if they're open to the public to see, we invite you to come see them. But at the same time, this is why we go through them fairly fast. So with that in mind, I'll take a motion on the consent items.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent items A alpha through F Foxtrot.
Okay.
I'd second that.
It's been moved and second to adopt the consent items A through F. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. All righty, so the next item we have is the departmental, which is resource stewardship. And with that in mind, I'll have, is there Mr. Robert Smith here? Oh, there he is. And we have the City of Lacey annexation, case number 20171-00056.
Good afternoon. Yes, you stated my item for you in regards to a proposed annexation of the City of Lacey. The County Boundary Review Board has submitted the application, or routed it for review and
Speak into
comment.
the mic a little bit more. There you go.
Okay.
Now you did it.
This particular proposed annexation is comprised of two parcels located on the west side of Marvin Road Northeast. The total size is approximately 72 acres. One parcel, which makes up most of the annexation area, is 69 acres, is owned by the North Thurston School District, and it's the site or the location of a proposed future high school and middle school complex. And it was the North Thurston School District that petitioned Lacey for this annexation. The other parcel, a little less than 3 acres, is owned by the City of Lacey, and it's a potential future well site for their water system. The county reviews annexations for impacts to county or to land uses, traffic circulation, other service district boundaries. So as part of our review, I had asked other departments and offices to submit any concerns or comments, including those from Public Works, the Sheriff, emergency communication, and no one submitted comments or concerns with this annexation. Staff cannot find any reason to oppose this, and with that, we would recommend that you not object to this annexation and send letters to both the Boundary Review Board and the city to that effect.
All right, any comments or questions on this?
Nope, we're ready to go.
How about you?
Just want to verify, again, just reiterate, in fact, you said there were no impacts to land uses.
Correct.
No negative impact.
Correct. The property is currently in the county, or Lacey Urban Growth Area zone, open space institutional, which allows for schools and public facilities. The city would maintain that zoning upon annexation.
Good, thank you.
All right, with that in mind, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to advise the City of Lacey and the Boundary Review Board that Thurston County does not oppose the proposed annexation of 72.07 acres, case number 201-71-00056 to Lacey.
I'd second that.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
All right,
Thank you, Mr. Smith. You bet. So the next item we have is item number 5, which is the Commissioner and County Manager's item. And here we have the interlocal agreement between the Board of County Commissioners.
4B.
Oh, my bad. I jumped ahead. I am so sorry. 4B. Don't do that, huh? 4B is the Comprehensive Plan Update Scale of Work in Public Participation Plan. And of course, Allison is here to lead us through it.
Don't scare
Sorry
me
about
like
Allison.
that.
I was ready to go.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Allison Osterberg with the Resource Stewardship Department, and I'm here today to request that the board adopt the scope of work and public participation plan for the county's comprehensive plan update. The comprehensive plan describes the long-term vision for Thurston County, providing guidance for our growth over the next 20 years. And we're required to conduct a periodic update under the Growth Management Act. The scope of work that's before you reflects the direction from the board that we conduct a targeted update that focuses on completing the required tasks that will bring the county's plan into compliance with state laws that have changed since our last major update in 2005. And the scope will also include updates to joint plans with the cities of Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater, Yelm, Rainier, Tenino, and Bucota. The board also approved a number of smaller kind of targeted updates as part of the budget process last year, and that's been incorporated into the scope of work as well. I would just note that the scope of work, as we've discussed, does not include substantial changes to the land use element at this time, and that's because it's anticipated we're going to come back and review the land use chapter and all the other relevant sections of the comprehensive plan after the completion of the regional habitat conservation plans that are currently under review. So the focus of the update at this time is going to be to make the county's plan consistent with existing policies and current state law. I just wanted to note, I understand the board received a comment on this agenda item from Mr. John Pettit, and I spoke with Mr. Pettit today, and he wanted me to note that what he would prefer is for the county to use an updated version of TRPC's Buildable Lands Report as a basis for the comprehensive plan update. That report was completed in 2014. That was to be in line with the scheduled comprehensive plan updates for the city and the county. Some of the cities were kind of on an accelerated schedule at that time. So that report is a little bit not as fresh as it was when it came out in 2014. But what we responded is that, as I indicated before, our intention is to work with TRPC to revise the buildable lands analysis once we've completed the HCP process and are looking to update our land use element. So we will be able to use newer information in certain parts. So that's our response to that question. And I'm happy to answer any other questions about the scope of work at this time.
No.
I have a couple questions. Two-part. Can you talk about the mandate from the state and how this is a requirement? And then part B to that is sort of the process to include open public comment and that.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So we're one of the counties in the state that is required to do comprehensive planning in general under the Growth Management Act. Thurston County was actually doing comprehensive planning even before the Growth Management Act went into effect. But part of the state law says that every 8 years we need to do a comprehensive update of our plan, and that kind of rolled around on a schedule that's determined at the state level. And so we've been kind of having a lot of big projects going on. Our last major update was in 2005. And there's just a lot of things that have changed in state law and new policies and procedures that the county has adopted that we haven't updated in our plan. And so the requirement is that we make our plan, the comprehensive plan, consistent with other jurisdictions that are within Thurston County, with our own other policies, like the regional transportation plan is an example, our countywide planning policies, things that have been updated since 2005. We want to make sure that there's consistency, and so that plan really reflects the latest information we have about the county. We know that the county is, Thurston County is one of the fastest growing areas in Washington State, and so we have new data and information related to that we'll be incorporating into the plan. And as far as public participation, we're also, as part of the scope of work, looking to adopt a public participation plan. Under the Growth Management Act, we're required to have what they call early and continuous public participation throughout the update process. So we're going to be doing a couple of different, there'll be many, many opportunities for public input throughout the update process. I want to be clear that today, we're not making any decisions on the comprehensive plan. We're just starting the process of doing the review. And any changes that come up will be going out to the public. We'll have probably several rounds of public meetings and public hearings. We'll be going through the Planning Commission. We'll be going out into the community and doing open houses and community meetings to talk about all the changes that are proposed, but that's a little bit down the road. Right now, we're just saying, here are the things we're going to look at. And all of that will come before both the Planning Commission and the board before it gets to the point of adoption.
Just one follow-up, and it's somewhat technical, but I want to make sure we're all on the same sheet of music. It is a plan, a guide, but it's not regulatory. Is that correct in terms of the comprehensive plan? Is that how it's seen?
That's not, I would say that's not exactly true.
Okay.
It is, there are elements of it. I mean, there's a lot of things in the comprehensive plan. A lot of it is setting out our goals and where we want to be as a community. And so there are things in there that are more guidance, but there are things in there that I think you could consider regulatory. There are specific policy directions that are in there that are binding.
Good. All right. Anything else?
Do those policy decisions or directions generally coincide with state regulation of one type or another that requires us to do this?
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the things we'll be doing throughout the review is making sure that what we have matches up with state law.
Okay.
So in a lot of cases, sometimes there are things that we want to set at a county level that we think are appropriate for Thurston County, but by and large, a lot of what we'll be doing in this update is making sure that we're meeting state law.
And that keeps us in compliance?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm. Yep.
Commissioner Hutchins had a question.
Allison, I just want to have you, hope you back me up on this. The comp plan is so comprehensive, hence the title, and it involves so many other municipalities and governing bodies, includes Thurston Thrives initiative, weaving it all together. And that with all the outside influences and pressures we receive from other governmental agencies, including the state, that we're an excellent company in being behind schedule and updating the plan.
Yeah, we're not alone in being behind, but that doesn't mean we don't need to catch up.
No, I mean, I appreciate
But
that.
that is, the Thurston Thrives is a good example of one of the areas where the county's done a lot of work. It's made a lot of progress. We'd like to take that information and incorporate it into our comprehensive plan, because otherwise it's not going to filter down into the development regulations and other areas of the county. So, yeah, it's a perfect example of what we want to be folding into it at this point.
But in this regard, with this incident, we are not an anomaly in Thurston County.
No.
Okay, thank you.
We're not alone.
Any other comments, questions? No?
That'll do it.
All right. With that in mind, I will take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt a resolution adopting the comprehensive plan update scope of work and public participation program.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the resolution adopting the comprehensive plan update scope of work and public participation program. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so much, Allison. Okay, now item number 5. Interlocal agreement between the Boulder County Commissioners and Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization for the use of treatment sales tax funding. And I think Assistant County Robin Campbell, yeah.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you again. I'm speaking this time on the interlocal agreement between the county and the Behavioral Health Organization for the purchase of services for mental health and chemical dependency treatment from our treatment sales tax fund. I don't have the very specifics on the programs that we're purchasing, but they are all services that have been ongoing since the BHO was established last April. Because the organization was new and was carved out, if you will, from the county public health, it took us a little time to sort through how much for these services needed to be retained in the county and how much would go with the behavioral health organization. And that's the reason we're coming to you at this late date. So this agreement would cover services provided since April 1st of 2016. The agreement goes through March 31st of this year for an amount of $1.3 million.
Questions? Yeah.
This funding that we're about to vote on is all dedicated funding that needs to be spent in this area?
Yes, this can only be spent on our treatment courts and treatment programs for mental health and chemical dependency issues. That's
So
the
this-
only way this money
This
can
will
be
not
spent.
take away from the general fund? Or
No,
any of the
not in
activities there?
any way, no.
Thank you.
No question? Okay. I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve an interlocal agreement between the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners and the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization that provides chemical dependency and mental health treatment programs and services during the period of April 1, 2016 through March 31, 2017 for an amount not to exceed $1,319,417 to ratify all services that have been performed to date and to authorize the Assistant County Manager to sign the interlocal agreement.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. You jumped the gun there. Okay, great. Okay, so with that in mind, we'll move on to 5B, which is commissioners who've been out at work sessions or committees and would like to address the public and where some of the activities they've been involved with. And we'll go with Commissioner Hutchings first.
Start with the 7th. Last Tuesday, February 7th, in the evening, I attended the open house of Quixote Village for their 10th anniversary. It was exceptionally well attended, and I must add, it was more touching and moving and had more of an impact on me than I expected. It's very positive in nature. Got to talk to a few people, residents, and heard their story, and I'm glad that I went. I attended the South County Housing Summit previous to that on Monday, January the 30th, and then in the last week, February the 8th on Wednesday, I attended the Transportation Policy Board, and WSDOT put on a presentation regarding the road use charge that is being studied, and a test run is going to be put into place later this year or next to include Vancouver, Canada, and Oregon. And that is in place. They're doing that only to study it because with the higher efficiency of vehicles that we have now, less gas is being purchased, and so gas tax is not coming in the amount that they expected. So they're looking at other ways of revenuing the way we drive. I attended the Olympic Region Clean Air Agency meeting. Mr. Zahn still here? No? And then I attended the LOT board meeting last Wednesday, February the 8th as well. On February the 9th, attended the Cascade Pacific Action Alliance in Elma, a mental health group, and attended the annual legislative reception at the Olympia Waterfront Olympia Yacht Club. And then later that evening, attended the Thurston Mason County Medical Society annual dinner and meeting with fabulous guest speakers, Mason County Commissioner Terry Jeffries and Thurston County Commissioner Bud Blake, among others. attended the Thurston Mason BHO board meeting on the 10th, and Monday the 13th, yesterday, all day, the Community Investment Partnership Retreat, working on housing and our plan for the year, and how we're going to fund taking care of kids and families and veterans.
Thank you much. Commissioner Edwards?
Well, a few things from last week. Legislative Farm Bureau dinner, in which issues were discussed from Capital Lake funding to county funding and everything in between. We met with staff over Lawrence Lake property issues. The Olympia Lot Club had an annual legislative meeting. Assisted with a fundraiser for the Yelm Senior Center out in Yelm, and we were invited to attend the Lincoln Day dinner, and I'm hoping for those that are out in the audience, we might get invited to attend the Democratic dinner as well. So I'm hoping that we'll have an invitation coming forward from the public, because we're here to serve both sides of the aisle, we'll point out. One thing I'd really like to take just a moment to explain, I guess, is we've heard a little bit about gopher issues here today. And I also met this week with representatives from the Yelm School District that want to put a road in to the backside of the campus. And that is being put in because the campus is expanding from, I believe, 1,500 students to 2,000 students. Ingress and egress is off the state highway right now. This is a very serious safety issue, and it appears that the gopher issue is more important than the safety of these kids. And I think that is a travesty of justice that we're trying to all address here as time goes on. But that was quite a topic of consideration, and we hear about it almost every county commissioner meeting here, and we are hoping to get to a resolution at some time in the very near future. That'll do it for me, Commissioner.
Yeah, very good, okay. For my take, as far as being out for the last week or so and just my involvement, I also attended the 10th anniversary of the Kyoto Village, and 7 years it was a camp, and 3 years that it's been the housing aspect of what we know today. Be it controversial or not, is absolutely great to see the 30-something houses that give people a roof over their head to be able to go to instead of being homeless. With that in mind, it was a packed house, and it was very moving to see the community as a whole to come out and represent in terms of housing officials, advocates, family members, and what have, even the board members from the Ponza board, to include the new president or new chair, Mr. Ted Sturdivant. Met him and greeted him, and you cannot help but to mention Jill Severin, who is the mover and shaker there for Kyoto Village and keeping that up and going and making our mark as far as Thurston County having reduced some of the homelessness. The other item is I'm the chair of the Housing Action Team for Thurston Thrives. Housing Action Team is a subcomponent of Thurston Thrives, and we meet monthly, and it's open to the public for anybody that has any kind of involvement with housing, be it wraparound services or actually brick and mortar or turning rentals into some sort of permanent supported housing. This time we met on some topics that are not truly standard because we're waiting for the funding from the CIP to occur before we go forth with, say, the pipeline and some other initiatives that we develop. But you should know that the Housing Action Team does a lot of different things. We're kind of a networking element. We are advocates in some ways. We're an action arm. We have several projects that we're working on in terms of Tenino and Tumwater and some others that we're developing. So it's a really good team, and I've been chair of that for now 2.5 years, and it's really come along in terms of we're past the storming and norming. We're on to making business and doing good business here in Thurston County, and I can't wait to come back and tell you what we're going to do for 2017 and 2018. As Commissioner Edwards mentioned, we met with the federal agency, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, here in this room, in room 280, to discuss the habitat conservation plan. And we're really excited about being able to have that conversation now, whereas in in the past, it's been kind of stilted. While we're not in total agreement on every aspect, we're at least moving towards what we call at least a negotiation platform. And we're developing that, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife is wanting to meet at that same table again, that negotiation table there. There's more to come, but as Commissioner Edwards said, but we're super excited about where it is and where we think it's going to go throughout the rest of the summer or maybe by the end of the year. Another thing that we talked about, me being the staff and the 3 county commissioners, and I invite the public to participate. As you might have heard earlier, Allison gave a thing on the comprehensive plan, and that's kind of the larger vision for the county and where we're going and how we want to develop. But we also have a more specific item, which is called the Development Code Docket, and that's also open to the public, and that gets down to the very specifics after the comprehensive plan. I won't say is approved, but at least kind of formalized in the sense that it's going forward. So you're going to hear Development Code Docket issues come up, and it could be from zoning to signing to UGA, urban growth area issues, a whole host of things. So stay tuned, look on the website, contact the county manager, contact us, one of the county commissioners, our assistants, so we'll help you out. But if you're wanting to be involved in that, please do come forward and speak where you reside and talk to us about what's going on with that, and we certainly open that up to anybody and everybody. Like Commissioner Hutchings said, the Thurston Mason Medical Society, I was a keynote speaker along with Commissioner Jeffries from Mason County. We are absolutely excited about our Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization. It has come a long ways from April of last year. We're not even a year old. We've opened up a triage. We have mobile crisis teams. We have dozens of providers that help out families, individuals, law enforcement, emergency rooms. And we do that not only in Thurston County, as you can imagine, in Mason County. We're replicating the same thing there. And we look forward to the entire 2017, 2018, doing great, wonderful things, especially when it comes to the innovative justice diversion of those who do not necessarily need to go to jail, could have chemical case management treatment at the triage center. So with that in mind, I will move on to the next item, which is 5C, where the county manager will review the calendar and some other events.
May I interrupt you, though?
Sure.
I just have to say this, so it's on the record. The CIP, or the Community Investment Partnership, is comprised of electeds throughout the entire county and United Way. And the comments had been made, how impressed we were with the work that the HAT, the Housing Action Team, that Commissioner Blake chairs, and the people that sit on that committee. Very comprehensive job on a plan for housing throughout the county. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Made me proud.
Yeah. County manager.
Thank you, Commissioner, once again. Let me walk you through the schedule for the next 2 weeks, considering the next Tuesday, there will not be a Board of County Commissioners meeting. So the appointments that are going to be highlighting represents that at least 2 commissioners will be present. On your individual calendars, you may have other individual appointments for your constituents in other matters. So beginning today, February 14th at 3:30, you have the Board of Health. Tomorrow, Wednesday, the 15th, 9 in the morning, you have a briefing on the treatment sales tax 2016 Community Fund Focus Recommendations. At 9:30, you will have a County Connections TV taping briefing. At 10 in the morning, you will have a meet and greet with the on-call consultant to support stormwater utilities. At 10:30, you will have a telematics program update briefing. At 11, you will have a meet and greet with the security consultants in general overview. They will do some security assessments here at the campus. At 12, you will have a meeting with your elected officials over lunch. At 1 in the afternoon, you will have a budget briefing. At 2 in the afternoon, you will have a briefing on the Washington State University extension in the 2016 impact report. On Thursday, February 16th, at 8 in the morning to noon, you will have interviews with the top 3 candidates for the Public Health and Social Services Director interviews. At 1 in the afternoon, Commissioner Hutchins and Commissioner Blake, I believe, they will be part of the Thurston Mesa Behavioral Health Organization Governing Board meeting. At 2:30 in the afternoon, you will have a briefing on the interim process, permitting process details related to the HCP. Friday, February 17th, from 8 to 1:30 in the afternoon, that time has been reserved for your interjurisdictional staff and constituent meetings. At 1:30 in the afternoon, you will hold interviews to replace the Thurston County Treasurer as a result of the past Treasurer, Sean Myers, moving on to a different position. And you will interview 3 candidates as a result of the Democratic Party in Thurston County submitting those 3 applicants for your consideration. At 3:30 in the afternoon, after those interviews are held, you will convene in an executive session where you will have the opportunity to converse among yourselves as to what will be the best possible pick from your perspective, as well as you may consider also, based on the interviews, for the Public Health and Social Services Director position. Moving on to next week, Monday, February 20th, the courthouse is closed in observance to the President's Day holiday. On Tuesday, February 21st, and let me stop there for a second because I believe the commission currently has taken an incredible action to set aside a whole week just to go through planning sessions to determine how the county should be moving forward in the future. So next week is going to be a very important and very busy week for you and the rest of the staff. So beginning on Tuesday, February 21st, at 9 in the morning, to 1 in the afternoon, you will have a planning session where you consider items related to the stormwater Supreme Court decision that may be affecting land use. At 1 in the afternoon, you will also have a planning session related to the exempt wells, also related to court ruling on how wells can be used or permitted here in the county. On February 22nd, at 9 in the afternoon, you will have a briefing on the voluntary stewardship program. At 9:30, you will convene again as a planning session to continue the conversation on the exempt wells. At 12:30 in the afternoon to 5 in the afternoon, you will convene what we call the Jail Population Crisis Action Team. And this will be a follow-up to the workshop the same team had back in September 2016. And as a result of that workshop, there was a report developed. And that will be the starting point of that conversation with all the law and justice partners as we see it. At 6:30 in the afternoon on Wednesday, the 22nd, you will have a meet and greet with the Planning Commission, and that will be over dinner. Thursday, February 23rd, at 9 in the morning, you will have a whole day related to the Habitat Conservation Plan, the HCP. At the beginning, from 9 to 10, you will have a briefing on the financial component of the plan, and then there will be a lot of people. This room is going to be full for that particular planning session, so I am particularly looking forward to that part of the planning sessions. On Friday, February 24th, you will have a briefing at 8:30 on the Treatment Sales Tax Advisory Committee. No, you will have a meet and greet with the Sales Tax Advisory Committee. At 10, you will convene back here to have a planning session on the Behavioral Health Organization, the BHO. And at 1:30 in the afternoon, you will convene on a planning session related to the cannabis and marijuana regulation as is moving forward. And that will take us to Monday, February 27th, which at 9 in the morning, you will have a briefing on the Agri-Tourism Advisory Committee. At 9:30, you will have a Public Health Social Services Housing Program overview. At 10, you will have another budget briefing. At 11 in the morning, you will have a briefing on the Conservation Features and Open Space Tax, how the program works. And at 3 in the afternoon, you will go in the Thurston Thrives Coordinating Council, and that will take us to the following Tuesday, February 28th.
Yay, a lot of good stuff, a lot of moving parts.
None of us are allowed to get sick that week. But do we get President's Day off? Yes.
Any comments or questions? No? Anything else?
No, sir.
Alrighty,
Could I clarify one thing?
sure, one thing.
You know, I mentioned that we were invited to go to the Lincoln Day dinner for the Republicans, but I didn't want anybody out there to think that they bought us dinner. We had to buy our own dinner, and I would expect that will be the same thing that would take place if we get invited to the Democratic
You're
dinner,
worried about the food.
that we'll buy our own if we get invited.
I bought my own last year.
Yeah. Okay, with that in mind, happy Valentine's to everybody out there. Take care of one of each other, and with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I move to adjourn the Board of County Commissioners meeting of February 14, 2017.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn the Board of County Commissioners meeting for February 14th, 2017. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Thank you.